So many challenges could be overcome if we could just get this economy growing at full strength. There's not a reason in the world why we cannot grow at a rate of 4% a year. And that will be my goal as president. 4% growth and the 19 million new jobs that comes with it.
All right, folks, is Jeb Bush speaking in reality or fantasy? Well, let's ask Larry Kudlow, CNBC senior contributor, host of the Larry Kudlow Show on Cumulus Radio and, of course, Kudlow.com. All right, Larry, welcome. And, by the way, great event, the Committee to Unleash Prosperity, along with Mr. Casamatides through for the governor of Louisiana the other night. He was very impressive.
Thank you, Steve. Well, he was. Bobby Jindal. He's
Yes.
a really smart guy.
And how smart is Jeb Bush when it comes to the 4% growth?
Well, look, it's too early to make endorsements for any of these candidates, but I want to say I wrote a column over the weekend. I totally endorse his 4% economic growth goal. I totally endorse it. It's aspirational, and it shows leadership, but it's also doable, in my view. And I asked me, the whole Republican Party, or to adopt a 4% growth target. Look, Steve, we've done this in the past, okay? Just three quick examples. After the JFK tax cuts, the economy grew over 5% for about 6 years. This is 5% yearly for 6 years. After the Reagan tax cuts and Volcker's ending inflation, the economy grew at 4.5% for 7 years. And in the 90s, what I call the Clinton-Gingrich economy, they were cutting welfare and free trade and lowering the capital gains tax. The economy grew over 4% for 5 years. The point is, it has been done, and it can be done.
Yeah, no, I hold your column right here in my hand. Jeb is right about 4% growth, and you're not making any endorsement yet, and I do understand that. Who else economically is on that kind of track?
Well, I haven't heard anybody pin a number on it yet. I really haven't, and I think different candidates. Ted Cruz, I think, has done a good job talking about growth. I think Rand Paul, with his flat tax, is starting to do a good job about growth. I think Rick Perry is, talking more about the Texas growth miracle and how he would apply it nationwide. I haven't seen enough specifics, all right? And, Jeb didn't outline specifics. I mean, we're going to have to do things. We're going to have to slash the corporate tax. We're going to have to completely redo the personal income tax, lower, flatter, simpler. We're going to have to change both small and large entitlements, right? Steve, we're paying people not to work. We're paying low-end workers not to work because the government benefits are too
Absolutely,
strong.
Healthcare and everywhere else. All right, let's talk a little bit about the polls. And there's been some movement for some candidates, including Rick Perry, who you just alluded to.
Yeah, Rick Perry, this is in the Wall Street Journal poll, and the sort of positive-negative combined. I think Jeb Bush had the best increase, and I think that comes out of his announcement speech, which, I thought was quite good. You're right, Rick Perry did very well. Scott Walker continues to do very well, and Marco Rubio continues to do very well. So, it's interesting. People, I think, are getting a little more comfortable with the field. Now, guys who are not polling well, Donald Trump is big unfavorables. I don't know whether he can make that up or not. He's probably the one who's got hurt the most in the latest poll.
What do you think of Donald Trump, economically speaking?
Well, I think economically speaking, Donald Trump is pro-growth and is a job creator. I mean, he's a job creator.
He'd be the best president, job-creating president God ever created.
Yeah, that's what he says. The trouble is, and I know Donald, and I respect him, and I've always had a good relationship with him. I'd like to hear what his plans are. What are your policy proposals? And I think that's very, very important. I know he has successful business, but I want to hear what his policies are on taxes, for example. Does he have an economic growth target? How about the soundness of the U.S. dollar? How about free trade? I mean, I'd like to hear him on all these things. He sounded very much like a protectionist, bashing China and bashing Mexico. So I didn't really much care for that.
What'd you think? I don't want to throw you a curve. What'd you think of the president using the N-word talking about Charleston?
Well, look, he's getting very emotional. This is an emotional issue, Charleston. It's a terrible thing. It's a hate crime. It's a racial crime. It's also a very sick kid taking violent drugs. I mean, the whole story is awful. So look, I'm going to leave President alone on this. I think he's doing what he feels emotionally he needs to do. I don't have a problem with it.
All right. That is certainly fair enough, sir. Great talking to you as always, Larry. Appreciate it, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate
Larry Kudlow, ladies and gentlemen. And you should listen to him on Saturdays. I believe it's, I don't want to say, it's different times around the country. So you could check out on your Cumulus radio station. He's a good guy, and he does a good show and has a great cast with him every week on that show. All right, up next, Give Me Five. And today we're focusing twice on Hillary. Once on her, what she said about guns, and once what she said about race. I think race is first. Don't miss it. It's next.